Thank you for being in this practice today with me. Let's sit tall, rest the palms on your lap, and like we usually do as we enter our practice, we settle. You can wiggle a little bit or shift the weight, even use your hands to widen the flesh around your sitting bones, and then find the seat that helps you tilt your pelvis forward a little bit. And then you feel a little bit of a back bend, right, in the lower back. And with that, you can even hold your knees and pull in, so you lift the sides of your torso, you roll the shoulders back, invite the shoulder blades to slide down the spine, and we lift the heart center. We lengthen gently through the neck and the back of the skull. And as you close your eyes gently, we start this journey inward. Slowly moving into the sensations in our physical body, the opportunity to attune to our breath. And as we soften our eye gaze more and more and send it gently down and back, we are also giving our brains an opportunity to soften and become more rested. We are in this practice trying to find a balance that goes towards the middle of being too tight or too loose. So as you scan your body from top to bottom, maybe you recognize areas that are a little gripped, or you're holding, sorry, and give yourself an opportunity as you use your breath to notice where the breath is going and ride that river of your breath into the spaces that may need a little bit more opening, so we can find that balance. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been sharing about the concept of ahimsa, the first ethical principle in our yoga practice, the most important one, which is connected to loving kindness, compassion, and non-harming. This week, I'm starting to share the second one, and that second ethical principle, very much connected to the first one, is satya. And satya is usually translated as truthfulness. Mainly, what I'm going to refer to is aligning our thoughts, our words, and actions with the truth. And as we practice aligning with the truth, we can carve this practice of truthfulness to ourselves and others. And even though we usually, I think, we all think of ourselves as people who are honest, it's a good opportunity to revisit this concept, because sometimes unconsciously or without wanting to harm, we fall into old habits of not being truthful. So if we think about it, I'm going to give some examples that happen to all of us, I think. But the idea is that the more we can check into these examples or things that may be small, the more we become trustworthy, we strengthen our relationships, and we realize how sometimes we are conditioned in informing our ideas of the things that are happening. So perhaps, you know, when we say something to someone, but truly we are thinking of something completely different, that would be not applying truthfulness. Or for example, when we are with someone and that person is talking and we are completely somewhere else, that in a way is also not being completely present and not being truthful. Perhaps when we are speaking to someone and we have our own agenda of what we want to happen, or an outcome that we want from a situation, that could be also an idea of how we are not truthful. Sometimes when we lie about something through omission, that's also tapping into that place. So these are just some ideas, right? Sometimes when we are passive aggressive, or we have a behavior or speech that violates this idea of being honest to ourselves or others. So for today, as we enter this practice, we have an opportunity to check in and to acknowledge our gifts, our limitations, so we can move towards honesty in our living, and to check in how our thoughts, our words, our actions throughout our day can sometimes fall prey of these old habits of being not honest. And when we are in doubt, we always want to check in from top to bottom into these principles. So we go first to non-harming. So perhaps we need to say something to someone and we think it's going to be hurtful when we are going to tell the truth. So we refer to that first principle and we think, how can I say my truth applying the least harming possible, right? Using loving kindness, compassion. So today, as we bring our palms together and we rest the thumbs into the heart, an opportunity to set an intention that is rooted in satya, truthfulness, honesty. And how can we apply in our yoga practice this principle? So perhaps by going to the expression of a pose that represents you in this very moment, staying present without pushing or forcing the practice, because effort is all that's required for progress. So using your practice for introspection is using the practice in an honest way. Find that word that connects you to your truth today. And with that mantra, we'll open the practice with the Om sound, inhaling deeply through the nose. Big exhale. And then we breathe in again. Then we connect head, hands, and heart together at the center. Slowly, when you're ready, release the palms, lift the head and open the eyes. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are moving towards the mat. I'm going to bring my cheat sheet because I planned a lot of things. And I want us to start. I put my blankie, as I've been doing regularly in the last month or so, to start the practice like that. So put your blanket on top of your mat, but today we start sitting on our blanket first. If you have pets to help you with the practice, you can bring them as well. So as I come into my blanket and I sit tall, I'm going to put my feet together into the pose that we call Baddha Konasana. If this shape, which looks like a butterfly shape for the legs, it's a little bit uncomfortable, or it feels like it's a little too intense, you should add a pillow under your sitting bones. And you can always have your blocks underneath your shins in the lower portion of your legs or whatever you need, so you feel extra comfortable there to sit for a little bit, okay? If the hands are not able to catch your feet for this first shape today, you're going to go and take your belt, which we are going to use a lot anyways today. And you're going to pull from that belt. You put it around your feet and you pull and you hold from there, okay? The first thing that we are doing today in this shape is to just try to make the center of the heels come together, the base of your toes come towards each other, and press into one another as you pull with your hands to roll the shoulders back and down, lift the spine, and lengthen through the crown of your head, okay? So we take a moment here, and as we close our eyes just for a moment, I want you to notice your spine. Remember that the spine is an indicator of that balance that we want to find, if we are being too hard in our practice or perhaps too loose. So the spine will give you the information, perhaps to help you come towards that center, okay? And as we breathe the next few strokes of breath, see if you can feel that breath moving towards your abdominal cavity. And we let the knees just drop, and we feel the opening from the groins into the inner knees, okay? So we are lengthening from the center, from the beginning, right, of those inner thighs out towards the inner knees without pushing the knees down. Just use your props to help you stay tall, relax the shoulders down, and widen through the collarbones to open the upper portion of our body. The eyes are soft, and keep using the attention to go into those strokes of breath, moving into your abdomen and expanding into your pelvis and down into the legs. One last breath here. And then we'll slowly release those props if you have them, or remove them, but keep your belt close by. We are going to use it in a little bit, okay? So now we come onto our backs like we usually or regularly enter our practice lately, and we release our arms and our legs and take a moment to notice, again, the body this time in the supine position. Any tingling, throbbing, any tension anywhere in the body. And as we work first and purposely mainly into the legs today, we are going to create some movement to start activating more and more our blood and movement in the body, okay? So we inhale and we bring the right foot and right heel up towards the pelvis, like trying to come into the tree pose. And then we exhale and release. We are sliding the legs up the blanket. I'm going with the left now, and then I'm sliding my leg back down. And again, inhaling slowly. It's like if I want to slide my right foot along my inner left leg, and then I'm releasing. And then with the other leg, the same thing, and coming down. And again, inhale, exhale. Don't rush the practice. Remember that we are practicing truthfulness today. The expression of the practice that fits your body, your mind, your emotions in this moment, okay? And also, it's a good opportunity to notice the differences between the sensations in one side and the other as you do this movement. We are activating your groins, psoas muscles, lower back muscles. Maybe you feel a little pulling in the hamstrings or outer lateral hips. Good, I'm doing one more each side. And then I'm resting again, taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. Then I'm going to bring my arms out to the sides and bring both my legs into that butterfly shape. So now my inner feet, they are touching, the soles of my feet, they are touching. And what I'm going to do here is just bring one knee up towards the vertical and then let it drop down. And then I'm bringing the opposite knee up and letting it drop down to the side. And again, inhale and exhale, inhale, release. And again we go, inhaling, releasing, inhale, and let go. Good, now we are going to go with both at the same time, but I'm going to add my hands, adding to the movement. So I'm going to put my hands at the top of my pelvis or at the top of my groins to be more specific. And I'm going to inhale where I am. And with the exhale, I'm bringing both my knees up as I'm brushing my inner legs towards my knees. Okay, and then again, I'm letting them both drop. I'm bringing my hands back to the groins. And when I exhale, I'm brushing my inner legs up as I bring the knees back to vertical. And then again, release, hands down, inhale. Exhale, legs come up towards one another. Inhale here. Exhale, bring them back up. And release again. This time I'm going to bring the lace fingers behind the head. And in this one, I'm going to inhale, lift the chin a little and arch the back. And with the exhale, I'm bringing knees towards one another and lifting the elbows into the belly. And then again, inhaling, widening through the inner legs, lifting the chin, arching lower back. Exhaling, we come up. It's like the cat-cow, but a little bit modified, right? Inhaling, we arch. Exhaling, we come up. Press the feet down on your mat, belly in. And again, inhale. Lifting the chin activates also the area with the thyroid in your body, in your neck. So let's use that also to create healthy movement. One more, inhaling, exhale. Good, let's add a little bit of twisting. Inhaling, we arch again. With the exhale, we come up, both elbows to the right, back to center, release the knees, release the arms, inhale. Exhale, we come up and we go over to the left, slowly back to center, inhale, open up. Exhale, up to the right, back to center, last time, inhale. Exhale, over to the second side, back to center, and release. Good, let's release the arms to the sides again. Widen, bring the knees up, widen the feet. And one more here, we extend through the arms. We are going to let both knees drop to the right, head to the left. Extend the left arm a little bit out, away from your body. We come back to center. Bring both knees to the left, head and right arm going to the right. Back to center. One more time. Both knees to the right, head and arm to the left. Back to center. Both knees to the left, right arm, head to the right. And we come back. Beautiful. Now with your hands, bring both your knees into the chest, rock a little bit from side to side. You can create a little bit of circling here with the knees together. Good, and like we did, I think, in one of the classes last week, we are going to reopen the arms for one last exercise here. And without pushing the knees, just using our core, we are going to send the knees down towards the front or top of the mat, then out to the sides, and then we bring them in again. And again, knees down, then open the legs, bring the knees back into the chest. Two more. Maybe there's clicking or noises coming from the body. Notice those, listen, watch, take it so you make your practice honest and you take care of yourself. Let's reverse it. Now we go out and down and back towards the chest, and 3 more like that. One more. Good. Hug the knees in again, rock a little bit from side to side. Good, and then from there, we are going to roll over to the side. And today, in the side, we are going to use our belt. So if you don't have it ready, I need you to make a loop with your belt. So you put the buckle, like if you're going to put a pair of pants, and then you put a belt, and you keep it more or less big. I'll show you what we are doing, okay? Today, it's a little different than what we usually do when we are on the side. So once you have your loop, I'm going to show you, and then I'll come close, guys. We are going to do our side lying shape like we've been doing also in some of our practices. And we are going to try and stay straight in the body. But sometimes that's a little bit of a challenge. So you can always bend the under knee to help you with more stability and having more surface covered, right, as we lie down. It also may happen that your head may need extra padding so it doesn't feel like it's going too far down. So if the head is not comfortable over your arm, then you add some pillow there or an extra blanket so you are connected a little bit more comfortable in that space, okay? Good. Now this that I'm going to do now is going to take a little bit of preparation. So with my loop, what I'm going to do, watch this first, I'm going to bend my upper knee into the tree pose. And like I said, this might be a little bit challenging with balance. Let's say if you're like this, so you may want to bend the under knee and it's completely fine, okay? What I'm going to try and do is to bring that upper foot as high into my inner thigh as I can. And then I'm going, watch this, I'm going to put one end of my belt into my ankle. So it's at the top of my foot. And the other end of the belt, I'm going to put my arm inside so it's hooked into my shoulder. And I'm going to make it as tight as I can. So you see how it's like on my shoulder and on my ankle, okay? This is the idea that I want for now. And it's taut and it looks almost like if it's like the string of a guitar, let's say, or a violin, okay? So once you have that, I'm trying to hook it so it doesn't fall, right? So it's really very much at the top of my shoulder. And I put it in a way that it's really tight. So it's like I'm really like pushing into the belt with the top of my foot, right? With the ankle. And it's also taut at the top of my shoulder. Now, once I have that, you see how I'm using my left hand for balance. So you can do the same thing, okay? So now what we are going to try and do is, if your under leg is extended, you try to really push through that right heel. And the foot that is doing the tree pose, my left foot, I'm trying to really press with my heel into the inner groin. That will activate the kidneys. It's a very good exercise to flush our kidneys. So I'm pressing into the inner groin with my heel. And I'm also, at the same time that I'm pressing it down, I'm trying to push it back. So it's like if I want to bring my inner right groin towards the wall that I have behind me. At the same time, my inner left leg is moving up towards the skies. So it's a lot of things, even though it looks like it's not a lot of things. Now, the sacrum is moving forward, and I'm trying to push the back of my pelvis towards the front of my pelvis. So if you do all of those actions at the same time, like I'm trying to do, you'll feel a lot of opening in that left groin. Then the back of the pelvis moving towards the front is going to give you more opening in the pelvic area. And at the same time, I'm trying to push with my heel into the inner thigh and press it back. Yes, you got all of the ideas? Now we are going to try and breathe here. Inhale and exhale, keeping those actions. So inner upper leg goes to the ceiling, the inner groin in the right leg goes back, the back of the pelvis is moving forward, and I'm pushing through my right heel. Relax the head, relax the face. Good. And then slowly we are going to take that belt out, and I'm going to use that same belt to put it onto my foot. You don't have to modify it. Just hold the belt there, And now we are going to do our usual that we've been doing also lately, side lying position to press that leg up. Again, as you can see, I bend my knee a little bit, so I'm giving myself a little bit of extra base there so I don't feel like I'm falling. Now, as I'm lying on the side, I'm still trying to push through my right heel, and I'm trying to bring the back of my pelvis forward towards the front, and I'm still trying to bring my right inner groin towards the back wall behind me. So the same action that my heel was doing in my inner thigh, I want to do it without the heel, okay? So try and send that inner right leg back as you push through the left leg and bring the back of the pelvis forward. Left heel up. Good, breathing in and out. This is a challenging shape, but it's super beneficial in the body. One of my teachers says that we should be doing it every day. One more breath. Good, and then we are going to release. It's not over. That same leg, which is your left if you're doing like me, we are going to take it. I'm facing up and I'm going to do like the pigeon pose. So I'm lying down, chest up, and I'm bringing that left shin in front of my chest. And with my hands, I'm just trying to keep that shape like when we do the pigeon pose, okay? So breathe in and out. Extending through the right leg. One more breath, trying to gently send the left knee away from your belly. Good, and then as I'm releasing the last portion of this practice, or this little sequence, it's a funny one. Now I'm going to roll over onto my belly and rolling over towards the left, and the left leg is going to go out to the side. You see, you can see it, I think. And what I'm going to try and do here is either with my hand to catch the foot if I can, or you go again with your belt, you catch that foot and you pull from there. And we are going to lift ourselves a little bit so we can send the belly and the chest over to the right as I'm pushing through my left heel and extending that inner leg, and I'm extending the right leg back. I know today it's a little bit of a lot of things. Okay, so lengthen, lift the belly and the chest, send it to the right. You can even turn the head to the right and push through your left heel. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Okay, let's take that belt out or the hands. Just bend that knee. We are on our bellies and we are going to turn ourselves over to the other side so we can do the second side on everything. I'm just going to turn so you can see me again, but we are doing the whole sequence, okay? So now I'm coming on to my second side. I'm lying down sideways, right? You put the pillow or the blanket, take your time, it's all good. Sometimes I get too excited, so I go kind of fast, but the idea is not to go fast. Take your belt so you have it close by, extend through the side body. If you need to bend the underleg for starters, please do. Remember that we want to try and bring the back of the pelvis forward. And then I'm going to use my big loop again, taking my upper leg into the tree pose. I'm hooking, right, one side of the belt into my ankle. I'm going to bring that heel as high as I can. And then the other end, not the buckle end because it's gonna hurt, I'm gonna put it right on top of my shoulder. You see how I'm belting myself? Good. Okay, then my under leg is either extended or bent. I'm trying to keep that heel as high up as I can. I'm gonna tighten it a little bit for me. Good, and then I'm releasing again the head. I'm making sure that, oops. Okay, I'm making sure that I have that sensation of pressing or breaking into the belt with both ends. And now we are going to do the same actions that we did before on the other side. So I'm going to push with my right heel into my left inner groin and also press it back towards the wall behind me. At the same time, I want to bring the back of the pelvis forward and the inner right leg up to the skies. So you will feel that opening, I guess, because I am feeling it in the groin. And I'm also creating a lot of expansion in the front of my pelvis. And I'm accessing the kidneys as I'm pushing with my heel into that inner groin, which has a point that it's connected to the kidneys, okay? Remember, we want to send the sacrum in so you don't feel the lower back becoming sensitive or hurting there, okay? So we are practicing now two things together, ahimsa and satya, non-harming, loving kindness, compassion, and truthfulness. And both they are related. When in doubt, you check in with those two. Am I practicing in an honest way? Am I expressing my practice from the place where I am today? Okay. Am I being kind, compassionate, and patient with my body and the way I feel? Good. One more breath, lengthening the spine, the belly, moving the belly away from the pelvis so we create length in the trunk. Good. And then I'm going to slowly release that. And now I'm going to hook my foot and we are going into the second part, okay? So again, I'm extending. If you need to bend the under knee, do so. And we go with that right leg, this time up towards the skies. Now we want to keep those actions that we just practiced before. So the inner left leg is moving back. The pelvis comes from the back to the front. I'm pushing through my right heel, relaxing the face, trying to create those same actions without the help of the heel or the belt, okay, that we had before. Good. Lengthen through the inner legs both. Keep sending the back of the pelvis to the front, back of the pelvis to the front, back of the pelvis to the front. And one more breath. Good. Then bend that right knee. We're going to take that supine pigeon pose. So now I'm coming onto my back. I'm holding my right shin. You can hold, of course, with both hands, one end and the other, just trying to move the right knee away from your belly. Relax the head, breathe in and out. One last repetition of breath here, stroke of breath. Good. And then slowly, last part, I'm going to roll over my belly. I'm going to send my right leg out to the side, the left leg straight back. If you need your belt, you go and you put it there again so you can catch the foot and push through the heel. Now I'm lifting myself so I can lift my belly and my chest and send them over to the left. And you can bring your right cheek down, push through your right heel and the left one as well, extending through the inner legs. Take a few breaths here. One last breath. Good, and then slowly take that belt out, release. Good, let's go from here slowly, pushing up into the tabletop. We are going to move our blankets out. We are going to use them later, so just fold them, put them on the side. Good, and then from here we come onto our tabletop. And we are going to move from here into down dog. To go from here into downward facing dog. For the ones who are not up for inverting today or that feels that it's going to make you dizzy, you stay in the tabletop and you work in the actions here of pressing through the arms and the hands. We open the fingertips towards the sides of the mat. Very important here to have a grip through the base of your thumbs, okay? And you can work on lifting the abdomen, lengthening the spine from here, okay? If you're going into the down dog, we are going to move the knees a few inches behind the hips and widen the feet as much as you can towards the sides, tuck your toes, and whenever you're ready, go up towards down dog. Keep the heels high. I don't want them to go down all the way, not yet, and just pedal your feet a few times. Mainly here, the idea is to take hold or take a quick look at your hands, press through the base of the thumbs and the four fingers, push your mat away and extend the sides of the trunk towards the ceiling. Good. Now, what I want us to do, guys, here in this position today is to use the same principles that we did right before when we were on our mat. So remember when we were pressing into the groins with your heels and you were sending them back? I want you to try and do the same thing now. So you're going to imagine that your heels are pressing into your inner thighs and they are sending them back and up behind you. Super, I see you guys. It looks amazing. Keep pushing, pushing, pushing through your hands so the chest comes closer to your thighs. Beautiful. And then hug those muscles of your quads and your thighs into your bones. So we are making those legs and the kneecaps very active. Beautiful. Now I want you to lift your heels so they are coming over your toes. Like if you had high heels now and you're very fancy. Beautiful. And you feel how your sitting bones open up towards the sides and they are like moving away from one another. The spine is super tall. Beautiful. Relax the head and the neck. Like I usually say, let it go, but the arms are super strong. Beautiful. Last breath here. And then bring both your knees down. Ah, nice. Coming to the tabletop, sit back for a moment, take a deep breath in and deep breath out. Good. If you need padding for your knees, you're going to take your blankie and put it right folded at the center of your mat so you can have the padding. I have a carpet underneath me, so I don't need that. But we are going to kneel, right? And we're going to use our belt again and one block. So these two things we need now, okay? Good. So I'm going to start. I'm going to mirror you guys. I hope I can do this right. And we are going to stay with the left knee pressing down, and we're going to put the right leg out like when we do the warrior two. My block is going to be in front of my right foot. And now I'm going to show you what we are doing with our belts. Okay, so we have this position, heel to knee. Okay, and the belt is going to be big again because we are going to again do a hook. Now remember, you want to have the tail of your belt in a place that you can play with it. So I'm going to go inside my belt today, and I'm going to have one side of my belt, it's on my hip. The other side of my belt is right below my knee. And then I'm going to tighten. So again, I'm doing a little bit similar to what we did when we were lying down. It's not the same place, but what I'm doing is tighten from hip to knee. Now my belt is on the back behind me. It's more or less where my tailbone is. So it's not very high, it's low, okay? So I'm putting it right below the hip bone and right below my knee, and then I'm making it tight. So you should feel again like both ends are breaking into the belt. If it doesn't feel like that, you should tighten it a little bit more, okay? Good. Once you have these, bring your hands onto your hips. Feel the sensation of those two ends and break into those. If you really don't feel much there, you should be pulling a little more so you really feel like you're breaking into that, okay? Of course, without making yourself not be able to breathe. But from here, we are again creating that opening in the inner thigh, and we are trying to bring the back of the pelvis forward towards the front of the pelvis. That will open the whole torso, okay? Lengthen the sides of the body, roll the shoulders back and down, and bring the bottom tips of your shoulder blades towards one another. Good, now we are going to extend the arms out to the sides. Beautiful, take an inhalation here. And with the exhale, we lengthen the torso towards the right. Keep breaking into that belt. And then you're going to put your right hand onto your block, okay? Now, if that block is too low, you can always put the forearm on your thigh and do the shape this way. Good, from here, I'm going to turn my left palm to face up. Before I do anything else, I want you to press the back of the pelvis forward again. Spin the chest and the belly away from the bent leg, so it's moving towards the right, the left, and then you're going to take that left arm up and over towards the right. Good, you got it, stay there so I can count. Good. So, beautiful. The right heel is grounded. Spread your toes. That looks good. Of course, as long as it's okay in your body, right? If there's something going on, no. Good. And you're breaking with the knee and the hip into that belt and spinning the belly button away from that warrior two quote unquote leg, okay? Nice, guys. It looks super good. Keep spinning the chest up, up, up. Extend that upper arm. You can do it, Marcy. You can do it. One more breath. Nice. Good. And then you're going to press into that knee and the foot so you can come up. Ah, yay. Awesome. Okay, let's bring that right knee in. Sit back for a moment. Good. And then we go the other way. So now we open up into that warrior two quote unquote shape. I'm going to put my block in front of the left foot, and I'm going to take my prop again. So I'm getting myself inside the belt. I'm going to put one end on the knee, one end on the opposite hip. I make sure that heel to knee is the alignment that I'm doing for my legs, and I'm tightening as needed, okay? That belt behind me, it's more or less where my tailbone is, so it's not high in my lower back. Good, then I'm pushing both one into one another, hands to the hips for a moment. Notice if naturally your buttocks are going backwards. I'm exaggerating, but the body tends to want to do that. So we always want to push the back of the pelvis towards the front. Activate those glutes. It will lift your trunk also. Roll the shoulders back, shoulder blades down. Feel first where you are if you feel stable, okay? Because the base, the foundation is super important to create all the opening that we want. And that inner groin, inner thigh, of course, is opening and it's moving back. So you're not letting the leg drop over or lean over to the front. Good, let's extend the arms. Good. Keep that navel moving away from your left leg, okay? As you lengthen the torso, the trunk towards the left, and then you put that hand onto your block as tall or low as you need it, okay? Good. Now, before we go all the way up, I want you to now again spin the belly and the chest away from the warrior two leg, and then you bring the upper arm over. Keep breaking into that belt with the hip and the knee. Okay, beautiful. Stay there. I'm coming again. Super. Now, for the ones who have that left arm in front of the leg, you can use that arm to push a little bit into that leg so it doesn't come forward, and you keep lengthening that inner thigh. Wayne, that looks awesome. Keep sending that right arm up and over. Good. Super. And keep sending the sacrum into your body. Jane, that looks great. Nice. Breathe in. Try to soften the face. I see some faces that are a little tense. Cool, Rita, that looks good. And then come back. Mark, you're there also. Awesome. Good. Super. Take that belt out. You're good. And bring the knee in. Okay, sit back for a moment. Good. I wish I had like 2 hours for this class, but I don't. Okay, take a block now. And you're going to put it in between your upper thighs. So I'm hugging, right, that block at the very top, close to my pelvis. And then from there, I'm going to come into downward facing dog. Barbara, if you're not doing down dog, stay in the tabletop, hug that block and try to press that block and send it back behind you, like if you wanted to spit it out. Same thing for down dog. Spin your hands a little bit out, again, like we usually do. This time our feet are closer to one another because of the block. And with your inner groins, like the same place where we had our heels, press the block with your inner groins and push it behind you up towards the skies, okay? This is a very good way to activate our organs. Spread your toes as much as you can. One more breath. Try to send your outer shoulders back So we are widening into the upper back. Draw the pelvic floor up towards your ribs and the ribs down towards your belly button. Relax the head. Good, and then bring the knees down. Take that block out. Beautiful. Okay, let's go up to down dog. One more time without the block. Recreate the same actions that we just did with the block. Can you imagine you're pressing through the inner groins, up and back? Draw the pelvic floor up. Keep all of that, and let's come into the plank pose. Push through the heels, and now those inner groins, send them up and towards the ceiling, like if you were, the same thing you were doing with the block. And then back to down dog. Again, inhale, plank pose. Imagine you have that block in between the thighs, push it up towards the skies, lengthen through the sternum, back to down dog. Good, bring the knees down. Come down for a moment, sit back. Good. Okay, and now you're going to sit again on your tushies, on your sitting bones, and we are going to bring the legs in front. I'm going to bring my feet together towards me, and if you can, a few options here. One is that you keep your belt close by, and you're going to do this with the belt. If not, I'm going to show all of the ways. So I'm going to try. One version is to hold the outer edges of my feet, sitting tall, lower back in, leaning back a little, and trying to open up through the legs, holding the outsides of the feet. Second version, peace fingers onto your big toes. You bring the feet together, you sit tall, and then from there you open up into the shape. I have my wall, but it's not letting me do it, okay? So that one is the second one. If this doesn't work either, belt, the same one that we used before, it needs to be more open than before, so you can use it. You just put it at the base of your toes or towards the heels, and you go there. Let's say, imagine that you're going there, and then you hold the ends of the belt, okay? All of those are similar. The idea is that when we come here, we send the lower back in, we extend through the inner thighs, so we are using those inner legs, we push through the heels, lift the front of your spine, lift the sternum, breathing in and out. One more breath. Good, and then exhale, release, bring the feet together, and let's do this one with a different version. I'm bringing my feet together. I'm going to put a block either inside my legs or a little further, or even you can press the block with your feet. From there, we lift up, and we are going to come into a supported fold with the legs doing the Baddha Konasana or the butterfly shape. So the support can be a block and a blanket on top, or two blocks, or a bolster, tall, and you make the pillow like really tall in the tall side so you can put the head there, okay? So any of the ones that I said or any other, and you go there and rest. Add padding under the knees or under the shins if you need. Take a few breaths here. Good. Now in this one, I know that we've been doing like different things, but in this one, try to release a little bit. Don't force the knees, don't force the legs, just try to let them become heavy. One more breath here. Nice. Okay, beautiful. Then slowly sit up. And I'm going to show you the last, like, formal, big posture that we are going to do, okay? So for this one, we need a few things. I have a bolster, so I'm going to use my bolster long. And instead of a bolster, you can always use a blanket folded a few times, or of course a pillow, if you have a pillow that you can use, okay? Besides that, I'm also going to use my belt. And for some of us, we may need to have an extra blanket for the head, okay? For me, I'm not gonna need it, but it can be helpful there for the head. This is also a super good shape that helps the whole system, the pelvis, the groins. I'm going to get inside my belt. So I made a big loop like we had before, and I'm sitting more or less like in the middle of my pillow, okay? After I'm inside my loop, I'm going to put my feet into, again, the Baddha Konasana or butterfly shape. And the other end of the belt, I'm going to put it outside my feet so I can tighten myself and go from my lower back to my outer feet towards the ankles, okay? I hope that you can more or less see what I'm doing. So from my lower back, I'm inside the belt, and then I put it outside my feet so I can bring my feet in with me, and I'm pulling from my buckle, okay? So it looks like my butterfly shape like we've been doing all along, because it's the theme to open up the groins and the inner legs, okay? So I have that. Once I have that, I'm going to lie down, and I'm going to make sure that my shoulders, they are off my bolster or pillow, so I can rest my shoulders and my head down. If the head is far from the floor, then you add the pillow or the blanket on top, underneath, okay? Good. So from there, then you're going to open your arms to the sides, let the inner legs open up, and drop your body here. Stay there. Don't move like me. I'm just going to adjust a little. Good. So I want my upper back to be supported by my pillow, but my shoulders are off that pillow and my head as well. And you keep the arms out to the sides and breathe here. We go into our breath again and we soften everything. Stay there, keep breathing. I'm going to tell you a few things that we are going to do there before undoing the shape, okay? Good. So this is a little bit of a variation of a bridge pose, and it helps us widen the groins. It opens the core and the chest. So try to soften here, finding the space inside of your body. Feel the opening in the lower belly. Let it spread. And if you want, you can add to this, bringing your arms overhead if you have the space, and perhaps holding opposite elbows and extending over the head to feel a little bit more of that opening through the side body all the way up. This posture is also tonifying the pelvic floor and the uterus. So it's a good way to also get into our organs. Beautiful. One last breath here. If you want to release the arms, you can release them. And then, like I did for me, see if you can go with your hands towards the buckle, where the buckle is of your belt, and you can soften it or making it loose. So then you can slowly bring the knees towards each other and roll over to the side to press up. If you have in your space a wall or a place where you can rest your legs, then today I'm going to recommend to use that same pillow that you use for this shape, and bring it under your pelvis and send your legs up with a support of a wall, a dresser, or the back of a bed, perhaps. If you don't have anything where you can put your legs, you can use that same pillow under the thighs, and you're going to rest into the Shavasana shape, coming to the end of our practice. For the one of the legs up, it really needs to be that they are supported, okay? Because for Shavasana, we want to feel comfortable and really rest our brain and not be thinking of holding the legs anywhere, okay? So it has to be a place where you can really rest the legs. And then we find slowly our space, our place of serenity in our last shape. Coming to Shavasana, we return to stillness, silence, and space. We release all effort and we let the truth that lives in our hearts roam freely, so we can observe it, we can let it spread and expand in front of us.